If I had a dollar for every time I procrastinated, I wouldn't need a business. I would be independently wealthy. But since nobody's paying people to procrastinate these days, I had to figure out how to get over procrastination. Once I broke through that barrier, it became one of the best things that I've ever done for myself, both personally and in my business. And once you learn how to overcome procrastination, if that's something that you struggle with, it's going to be one of the best things that you've done for yourself as well. I'm Amy Shield. I'm a time management and productivity coach for small business owners and solopreneurs. And today I'm sharing some simple tips to help you overcome procrastination so that you can get more done in less time and make more money. Some people have zero struggles with procrastination, and then there's the rest of us. For as long as I can remember, I have struggled with procrastination, whether it was doing my homework or cleaning my room when I was a kid or applying for promotions in my former career with the federal government. Procrastination seemed to follow me everywhere. When I started my first business in 2017, I learned really quickly that every day that you don't take action becomes another day of lost time, lost revenue, and lost growth in your business. So I had to really figure out how to overcome this lifelong hurdle of procrastination. Here are three of the strategies that I use to overcome that hurdle for myself. And I would love for you to check them out and see which ones resonate with you and give them a shot. Number one, it's important to understand why you're procrastinating. So if you search online for how to overcome procrastination, you're going to be hit in the face in the search results with all kinds of hacks to get you started, to jumpstart your action taking. Things like counting down from 5 and then just going ahead and starting, or making yourself do something for 2 minutes, or think about eating the frog and just imagine that you're eating the frog and getting started on that difficult task. Listen, hacks can be incredibly useful in a pinch, and sometimes they can help direct your growth over time in terms of getting over procrastination. But what can be even more useful for you is really getting at the root of procrastination. You want to ask yourself, what's stopping me from taking action here? What am I thinking or feeling or believing about the task that I need to do or my ability to complete it that is putting me out of action and causing me to shrink away from this task? And that could be things like overwhelm, indecision, low motivation, perfectionism, self-doubt, fear of failure, or even confusion. See, these are all mindset issues that can contribute to the action of procrastinating. Number two, once you've identified why you're procrastinating, coach yourself through the issue. What does it mean to coach yourself exactly? So, coaching yourself means number one, becoming aware of the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that are influencing your behavior. Then analyzing whether those thoughts, beliefs, and emotions serve you in achieving your goals and becoming the version of yourself that you want to be. And if they don't, deciding how you want to think, feel, and believe instead. Here's an example of self-coaching in the context of overwhelm and overwhelm causing procrastination. So let's say that I have a thought that there's too much to do. When I think that, I'm feeling overwhelmed. So what I want to do is analyze that thought. Does it serve me to believe that I have too much to do? Well, probably not, because if I continue to think that way, I won't ever get started. And then I'll have even more to do. And I have things that I need or want to get done. Next, decide how you'll choose to think and feel about all the stuff that you have to do. And what that might sound like, for example, is I'll choose to think and I'll focus on the thought that the only thing I have to concentrate on right now is the very next thing. I'm going to let myself forget about everything else on the list and just focus on the next thing. Let's take a look at another example. And this time we're going to look at procrastination in the context of perfectionism. So, in other words, someone with perfectionistic tendencies is procrastinating on a project or a task. And maybe that person has a thought along the lines of, I'm afraid I won't do a good enough job, so why even try? Now, analyze that thought. Does it serve me to think that I won't do a good enough job, so I might as well not even try? Well, it probably doesn't serve me in the long run, because then I'll never give myself a shot and I'll never know. My chances of advancing and learning and growing and making progress are greatly reduced if I continue to think that way. So then decide, how do I want to think and feel instead here? Maybe I'll choose to think that even if I don't do a great job, the lessons that I'll learn and the experience that I'll gain from at least giving it a shot will be worth it. Maybe I'll choose to feel courageous because doing something that I might fail at or that I might not complete up to my personal standards, yes, that feels scary. But beyond that short term fear and that short term disappointment that I might experience is long term progress and long term growth. You can take this self coaching around perfectionism even further by asking yourself questions like, is it fair of me to not even let myself try? What could happen if I didn't do a good enough job? And how would I handle each of those outcomes? Is it possible that, hey, maybe I will do a good job on this? And how am I defining good enough anyway? And is that a fair and compassionate definition for me to be holding myself to? Number three, you want to develop a strong relationship with yourself. Regardless of the reasons why you might be procrastinating, one of the best things that you can do, yes, to overcome procrastination, but to make leaps and bounds worth of progress in all other areas of your life is to develop a strong relationship with yourself. One of the interesting things about procrastination is that in a lot of ways, it's actually a survival response. Part of your brain wants to keep you safe, maintain the status quo, and expend as little energy as possible. And when this part of your brain senses that a task might be difficult or draining, it may encourage you to procrastinate. That procrastination survival response is amazing if, for example, you need to traverse a dry, hot, dangerous desert, but it's better for you to wait to do that until nightfall. On the other hand, if you're procrastinating on reaching out to prospects in your business or getting that new revenue stream up and running, that's a little bit less of a legitimate, valid survival response. But your brain is still going to suggest that you procrastinate because it's not great at distinguishing between things that are actually harmful and dangerous and things that it just perceives could be harmful and dangerous. That kind of procrastination is often not in your best interest. When you're struggling with procrastination, another great strategy is to check in with your future self. That survival focused part of your brain really only has your short term interests in mind. It doesn't have the ability to consider the longer term consequences of your choices and decisions today. One way to shift out of short term thinking and into longer term consideration is to check in with your future self. Here are some questions to help you get started on that. How will future me feel if I stop procrastinating and get this done? How will future me feel if I continue to procrastinate? What advice would future me give to me in this moment as I struggle with procrastination? How does it serve me to take action here? How is it serving me to procrastinate in this situation? Logically, does it make sense for me to take action on the next step right now? And if so, can I stop procrastinating and start taking action as an act of love for my future self? Always remember that you and your future self are on the same team. You have the ability to influence your future self's workload, thoughts, feelings, and outcomes with the choices that you make today. After all, the person who tends to suffer the most when you procrastinate is you. If you've struggled with procrastination for a good part of your life, figuring out how to overcome it can seem like a really big task. Motivation tricks and hacks might come in handy, but beating procrastination long term is really an inside job. Today, I shared with you three strategies to help you learn how to overcome procrastination in a lasting, sustainable, and meaningful way. Number one, understand why you're procrastinating. Number two, coach yourself through the issue. And number three, develop a strong relationship with your future self. Hey, thank you so much for checking out my video. I'm Amy Shield, time management and productivity coach for small business owners and solopreneurs. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.